That steaming cup of coffee you are holding, that best part of waking up, put it down right now. You think you are drinking a simple extract of a roasted bean, a natural energy booster, a morning ritual? You are wrong. You are drinking a chemical cocktail of mold toxins, pulverized insects, synthetic fillers, and industrial carcinogens that big food corporations have spent billions of dollars to disguise as premium roast. Today, we are going to dismantle the coffee industry. We are going to expose the 10 specific brands that are poisoning your morning routine. We are looking at data from European food safety regulators, independent laboratory studies, and consumer watchdogs that the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. We are talking about mycotoxins that cause liver cancer. We are talking about microplastics crossing your blood-brain barrier. We are talking about banned pesticides and heavy metals accumulating in your tissues with every single sip. The industry relies on your addiction. They rely on the fact that caffeine is the most consumed psychoactive drug on the planet, and you need it to function. They have weaponized your dependency to feed you the lowest quality, most contaminated agricultural waste products imaginable, and they charge you a premium for the privilege. Are you ready to see the list? Are you ready to find out if your favorite brand is actually a toxic sludge disguised by a multi-million-dollar marketing budget? By the end of this report, I am going to give you the two only types of coffee you should ever put in your body. But first, we have to wade through the filth. To understand why coffee is such a dirty industry, you have to understand the chemistry. Coffee is a seed. It is an agricultural product grown in tropical climates, climates that are hot and humid. Do you know what else loves heat and humidity? Mold, fungi, pests. When coffee is mass-produced on an industrial scale, there is no selective handpicking. Machines strip the trees. They take the ripe cherries, the rotten cherries, the twigs, the insects, and the moldy beans. It all gets ground up together. To mask the taste of rot and fermentation, they roast it to charcoal. To kill the bugs, they douse the crops in pesticides that have been banned in the European Union for decades. And to make it shelf-stable for 2 years in a plastic tub, they process it until it is chemically unrecognizable. Let's get to the list. These are the top 10 offenders. Number 10, Nescafe, the giant, the titan, the red mug that sits in kitchens in 180 countries. For 85 years, Nescafe has convinced the world that instant means convenient. But let's look at what the European regulators found. Between 2013 and 2017, Nescafe faced multiple silent product recalls across Europe and Asia. Why? Contamination by aflatoxins. Let me explain what aflatoxin is because it sounds like science fiction, but it is a biological horror story. Aflatoxin is a mycotoxin produced by mold. It is not just bad for you. It is a group 1 carcinogen. That is the highest classification of cancer-causing agents, sitting right next to asbestos and tobacco. It is specifically linked to liver cancer. Here's the kicker. Aflatoxins suppress your immune system, so while you drink your morning cup to wake up, you are actively suppressing your body's ability to fight off infection. And because Nescafe is an industrial instant coffee, the processing involves spray drying at massive temperatures. This thermal shock creates acrylamide. Acrylamide is a neurotoxin and a potential carcinogen formed when starchy foods are scorched. The levels found in industrial instant coffees like Nescafe are significantly higher than in fresh brewed coffee. You are drinking a double whammy. Mold toxins from the raw bean and carcinogenic chemical byproducts from the processing. And for the elderly consumers who have trusted this brand for decades, that hepatic damage, that liver stress, it accumulates, it doesn't go away, it builds up sip by sip, year by year. Number 9, Lavazza non-organic lines. This one hurts the foodies. Lavazza sells you Italian heritage. They sell you the dream of a Roman cafe. The packaging is gorgeous. The price is premium. It screams sophistication. But packaging is not chemistry. Between 2017 and 2019, multiple consumer protection groups in Europe analyzed the standard non-organic lines of Lavazza. They weren't looking for flavor profiles. They were looking for toxicity. And they found it. They found alarming residues of pesticides and ochratoxin A. Ochratoxin A is another mycotoxin, a cousin of aflatoxin, but this one specifically targets your kidneys. It is nephrotoxic. The European Union issued warnings. They demanded stricter testing. And what did Lavazza do for its American and Latin American markets? Did they issue a recall? Did they put a warning label on the bag? No, they did nothing. They continued to sell the exact same product lines to you, banking on the fact that regulations in the Americas are often looser than in Europe. They used your ignorance as a profit margin. The silence was their strategy. While European citizens were being protected, you were pouring kidney damaging toxins into your French press, thinking you were treating yourself to real Italian quality. Number 8, Starbucks, bottled Frappuccino, the green siren, the most recognized coffee logo on earth. When you see that logo, your brain has been conditioned to think quality, consistency, luxury. This bottled drink you buy at gas stations and convenience stores, it is a Trojan horse. It is not coffee. It is a chemical delivery system for sugar and thickeners. If this product had a generic label that said sugared coffee flavored milk beverage, you would never buy it. But put the Starbucks logo on it, and suddenly it costs $4 a bottle. Look at the ingredients. Milk is first, sugar is second, coffee is a distant third, but that's not the scandal. The scandal is the additives: carrageenan, maltodextrin, stabilizers. Shake the bottle. Watch how the liquid moves. It's thick, it's syrupy, it clings to the glass. Real coffee doesn't do that. Real coffee has the viscosity of water. This is a product designed to hook children and teenagers. It creates a neurological association between coffee and extreme sweetness. It spikes insulin levels to dangerous heights. For a pre-diabetic or anyone watching their blood sugar, this bottle is a metabolic grenade. But because it says coffee, we give it a pass. We let our guard down. Starbucks took the trust they built with their baristas and roasted beans, and they licensed it out to sell a shelf-stable sugar bomb that degrades the very definition of coffee. Number 7, Death Wish Coffee. The branding is a skull and crossbones. The marketing slogan is the world's strongest coffee. They are literally warning you, and people still buy it as a flex. Here is the problem with extreme caffeine marketing. Death Wish contains up to 728 milligrams of caffeine per 12-ounce cup. To put that in perspective, a standard cup has about 95 to 100 milligrams. The FDA cites 400 milligrams as the safe daily limit for a healthy adult. One cup of this stuff is nearly double the daily limit. This isn't energy, this is toxicity, this is a cardiovascular assault. The FDA received reports in 2019 of dangerous adverse reactions, severe heart palpitations, anxiety attacks, tremors, and visits to the emergency room. And how do they achieve this caffeine level? Do they use magical beans? No, they use Robusta beans. There are two main species of coffee, Arabica and Robusta. Arabica is the good stuff, complex, flavorful, lower caffeine. Robusta is the weed of the coffee world. It grows low, it grows fast, it tastes like burnt rubber, and it is loaded with caffeine because caffeine is a natural pesticide. The plant produces it to kill bugs. Death Wish creates a product that tastes harsh and burnt because it is harsh and burnt. They over-roast cheap Robusta beans to mask the bad flavor, which creates more acrylamide, and then overload you with a stimulant dose that can trigger arrhythmia in people with underlying heart conditions. It's not a beverage, it's a health hazard sold as a lifestyle brand. Number 6, Folgers. The best part of waking up. That jingle is ingrained in our collective consciousness. Folgers is the sound of safety, of family, of tradition. It is the red canister in your grandmother's pantry. But try to find out what is inside that canister. I dare you. Pick up a tub of Folgers. Look for the country of origin. You won't find it. Look for the farm name. Nothing. Look for the harvest date. Blank. Look for the bean variety. Silence. Folgers is the most secretive coffee brand in America. While other brands might lie on their labels, Folgers doesn't even give you a label to read. Industry insiders have confirmed that Folgers relies heavily on the cheapest possible Robusta beans from Vietnam and Brazil, sourced from the commodity market where traceability is non-existent. This means you are drinking a blend of beans from thousands of different farms with zero accountability for pesticide use, mold contamination, or storage conditions. The classic roast is a masterpiece of industrial masking. They take inconsistent, low-quality, bitter beans and roast them to a uniform mediocrity that creates a consistent taste. But that consistency is artificial. In their instant lines, it gets worse. Analysts have found fillers, maltodextrin, processed starch, and silicon dioxide, an anti-caking agent usually found in sand glass, are often used to bulk up the powder. You aren't just drinking coffee. You are drinking industrial fillers designed to maximize profit margins for a conglomerate that treats coffee like gravel. Number 5, coffee capsules, K-cups, generic pods. This is an environmental disaster, yes, but it is also a direct threat to your hormonal health. Think about the physics of a coffee capsule. You have a plastic cup sealed with an aluminum lid filled with ground coffee. You put it in a machine that forces water at 90 degrees Celsius, nearly boiling, through that plastic cup under high pressure. Heat plus plastic are leaching. It is basic chemistry. When you heat plastic, it releases compounds: BPA, bisphenol A, phthalates, and microplastics. These are endocrine disruptors. They mimic estrogen in the body. They mess with your testosterone levels. They disrupt thyroid function. A 2018 Canadian study tested major capsule brands and found detectable levels of microplastics and plasticizers in the brewed coffee. You are literally drinking the cup. The particles are microscopic, nanoplastics, small enough to pass through your gut lining and enter your bloodstream. Scientists are now finding these microplastics in human brain tissue, in the placentas of unborn babies, and in the blood of healthy adults. Every time you choose the convenience of a pod over the effort of a filter, you are dosing yourself with a little bit more liquid plastic. It accumulates. Your body cannot filter it out fast enough. Number 4, supermarket private label, white label, generic. You see the massive tin at the supermarket. Great value. Kirkland, basics. The price is impossibly low, maybe $5 or $6 for a massive container. It seems like a smart budget move, especially with inflation. But do the math. Quality coffee costs money to grow, pick, and roast. If the final product costs $3 a pound retail, the farmer was paid pennies. At that price point, quality control is impossible. In 2016, Consumer Reports tested variety of coffee brands for contamination. The correlation was clear. The cheaper the coffee, the higher the levels of mold and ochratoxin A. When a coffee broker has a batch of beans that got wet in a shipping container or sat too long in a warehouse and developed mold, they don't throw it away. That would be a loss. They sell it at a discount to the industrial roasters who make generic coffee. They roast it dark to hide the moldy taste. They grind it pre-packed so you can't see the shriveled, defective beans. When you open a can of cheap generic coffee, smell it. Does it smell like fresh earth and flowers? No, it smells stale. It smells dusty. It smells like a basement. That is the smell of chemical deterioration. You are brewing mold tea. Number 3, fast food coffee, McDonald's, Dunkin', Burger King. This is fuel, not food. These chains operate on margins of fractions of a cent. They need consistency and they need it cheap. To achieve a consistent flavor across 30,000 locations using millions of pounds of beans, they have to obliterate the nuance of the bean. They roast at ultra high temperatures in massive industrial drum roasters. This flash roasting is efficient, but it creates the highest levels of acrylamide in the industry. You are drinking burnt carbon. The bitterness you taste in fast food coffee isn't boldness. It is charcoal. It is the taste of organic matter being incinerated, and because they use massive silos for storage, the risk of cross-contamination with pests is higher. There is a reason fast food coffee is often served scalding hot, so hot you can't taste it until it cools down. By then, you're halfway done. It's a trick to hide the low quality of the bean. Number 2, fake single origin gourmet brands. This is the fraud of the upper middle class. You buy a bag that says 100% Kona or Blue Mountain or single origin Ethiopia. You pay $20 for the bag. You feel good. But the coffee industry is not regulated like the wine industry. In France, if you say it's champagne, it must come from Champagne. In the coffee world, labeling laws are full of loopholes. Investigations into food fraud have found that up to 40% of single origin coffees are actually blends. They take 10% of the expensive bean and mix it with 90% cheap fillers from Brazil or Vietnam. Chemical profiling of these beans reveals that the soil composition doesn't match the label. You are paying a luxury tax for a lie. You are buying a story. The picture of the happy farmer on the bag, the description of the volcanic soil, but you are drinking a commodity blend that is worth a fraction of the price. Without third-party verification, that gourmet label is just a sticker. Number 1, cheap instant coffee, sachets, unknown origin. This is the bottom of the barrel. This is the worst offender. The unbranded or obscure brand instant coffee packets, the 3-in-1 mixes, the stuff you find in cheap hotels or dollar stores. This is barely coffee. Laboratory analysis has revealed that some of these products contain up to 90% fillers. We are talking about roasted barley, wheat, soybeans, chicory, and even ground up twigs. To make it look like coffee, they add artificial caramel coloring. To make it taste like coffee, they add synthetic flavoring agents, but it gets darker. Some of these cheap instant coffees imported from regions with lax regulations have tested positive for chloramphenicol. This is an antibiotic. It is banned in food production in most of the world because it can cause aplastic anemia, a condition where your bone marrow stops producing blood cells. Why is there antibiotic in your coffee? Because they use it to stop bacteria from growing during the cheap, unhygienic fermentation process of low-grade beans. They are medicating your coffee to keep it from rotting before they dry it into a powder. It also often contains heavy metals, lead, cadmium, arsenic at unsafe levels. This stuff is poison. It smells like chemicals. It tastes metallic. It dissolves too fast because it's mostly maltodextrin. If you have this in your pantry, you are playing Russian roulette with your kidneys and your bone marrow. The solution: how to drink coffee safely. I know this is terrifying. I know you feel betrayed. You should. These corporations have prioritized their shareholders over your cellular health, but you don't have to stop drinking coffee. Real coffee is a superfood. It is loaded with antioxidants. It protects the brain. It fights inflammation. You just have to buy the right coffee. 8. Here are the only two types of coffee you should ever trust. The safe option: 1. Certified organic and fair trade. This is your baseline. Organic is not just a buzzword, it is a legal definition. It means no synthetic pesticides, it means no glyphosate, it means the soil is alive. When you buy certified organic, you are eliminating the risk of drinking chemical residues. When you add fair trade, you are ensuring that the farmers are paid enough to actually care for the crop, which reduces the likelihood of mold and bad beans ending up in the sack. Look for the seals: USDA organic, EU organic, fair trade, certified. These are audited. They have a paper trail. The beans are almost always 100% Arabica, which naturally has lower caffeine and higher antioxidant profiles. The taste is cleaner. It doesn't have that chemical afterburn. The safe option: 2. Local artisanal roasters. This is the gold standard. Find a local roaster in your city, someone who buys small lots, someone who knows the name of the farmer. Why? Traceability. A small roaster can tell you, this coffee came from the Garcia family farm in Guatemala, harvested in November, and we roasted it last Tuesday. That transparency is your safety net. They test their beans, they cup, taste every batch. If a batch tastes moldy or fermented, they dump it. They don't have shareholders forcing them to sell garbage. Freshness is the other factor. Coffee is a food. It goes stale. Stale coffee oils oxidize and become rancid, free radicals. Local coffee is fresh. It is full of healthy polyphenols that haven't degraded yet. The home test: check your coffee. Now you can be a scientist in your own kitchen. Here's how to spot the fakes right now. The dissolve test. For instance, take a spoonful of your instant coffee, put it in a glass of cold water. Real coffee will float for a while, then slowly dissolve, releasing a tan color. Fake filler coffee will dissolve almost instantly or sink to the bottom, leaving dark streaks. If it dissolves too fast in cold water, it's likely maltodextrin, starch. The smell test: open the bag, stick your nose in. Good. You should smell fruit, nuts, chocolate, earth, flowers, complex layers. Bad. If it smells like a chemically flat coffee smell, like a scratch and sniff sticker, it's artificial aroma. If it smells like dirt, musty basement, or fishy, that is mold or rancid fats. Throw it away. The body test: brew a cup, let it cool, take a sip. Good. It should have body, oils, a mouthfeel. Bad. If it feels watery, thin, and gritty on your tongue, it's low-grade Robusta or full of fillers. The call to action: you have the power. Every dollar you spend is a vote. When you buy that cheap yellow tub or that convenient plastic pod, you are voting for industrial toxicity. You are telling them, I don't care what you put in here, as long as it's cheap and fast. Stop voting for your own poisoning. Go to your kitchen, open the cupboard, look at the labels. If you see Nescafe, Folgers, generic instant, or mystery pods, throw them out. It's not a waste of money, it's an investment in your health. The cost of liver damage, the cost of hormonal disruption, the cost of cancer is infinitely higher than the $5 you save on a jar of dirt. Switch to organic, switch to local, grind your own beans. It takes 2 extra minutes in the morning. Those 2 minutes are the difference between drinking a healing elixir and drinking a toxic sludge. Don't let them lie to you anymore. Stay skeptical, read the label, and if you can't read the origin, don't drink the coffee. Share this video, send it to your mom who drinks Nescafe every morning, send it to your friend who lives on K-Cups, wake them up. Real coffee should wake you up, not make you sick. I'm watching the industry so you don't have to. Check your pantry right now.